Good morning, my friend. Let me ask you something. Did you have bacon for breakfast today? If you did, you're certainly not alone. Bacon is delicious, comforting, and a classic part of the American breakfast. But here's the truth that most people don't know. Eating bacon with just 3 common foods could quietly be damaging your health. And I'm not talking about something far off in the future. I mean right now. It could be increasing your risk of heart problems, inflammation, digestive issues, and even memory loss. Especially if you're over the age of 55, these combinations might be affecting your body more than you realize. Now, I'm not here to scare you, and I'm definitely not telling you to give up bacon forever. But I do want to show you how these 3 common pairings might be working against your health, and what you can eat instead to enjoy bacon in a way that's safe, balanced, and even good for you. Let's talk about it.
Setting the stage. Before we dive into the 3 food combinations you should avoid, I want to take a moment to talk about why this even matters, especially for those of us in our 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. See, as we age, our bodies go through quiet but powerful changes. Our metabolism slows down. Our digestion isn't quite as quick or as strong as it used to be. The way we process fats, sugars, and even salt, it's all different now. And what might have been harmless at 30 can start to take a real toll at 65. You might notice it in small ways. Maybe it's feeling tired after a meal, or your joints ache a little more. Maybe your memory feels foggier than it used to. These little signs are your body's way of speaking to you. And food plays a bigger role in that conversation than most people realize. Now, bacon by itself isn't necessarily the villain. In fact, for many of us, it's part of our favorite memories: family breakfasts, weekend brunches, and cozy mornings. The real issue is what we're combining with bacon. Because when you put the wrong foods together on the same plate, it can create a chain reaction in your body, one that leads to inflammation, high cholesterol, blood sugar spikes, and worse. That's why I made this video, to help you see not just what to avoid, but also what to embrace. Because small changes in your meals can lead to big changes in how you feel. And you deserve to feel your best. So now, let's take a look at the first dangerous combination with bacon and why it might be affecting your health more than you think.
Why bacon isn't the enemy, but can be a trigger. Let's get one thing straight. Bacon, in itself, is not evil. It's flavorful, it's satisfying, and for many of us, it brings comfort. It's that warm smell in the morning, that salty crunch on a sandwich, or a little treat to look forward to on the weekends. But here's the thing. Bacon is a processed meat, and that comes with a few important facts we can't ignore. It's typically high in saturated fat and sodium. It also contains preservatives called nitrates and nitrites, which are used to extend shelf life and maintain that pink color we all recognize. These preservatives, under certain conditions, can turn into something called nitrosamines. And nitrosamines, they're compounds that have been linked to a higher risk of cancer and chronic disease. Now, here's the key. Bacon on its own, in small amounts, may not cause major issues. But when you combine it with certain other foods, especially ones most people eat at the same time, it can trigger chemical reactions in your body that multiply the risk. This is especially true as we get older. Our liver processes fats and chemicals more slowly. Our arteries are more sensitive to cholesterol buildup. Our gut bacteria, which helps protect our immune system, becomes more fragile with age. That means the impact of what we eat is stronger and more direct than it used to be. So when you hear someone say, "Don't eat bacon," that's not the full story. The real issue is what you eat it with, because some combinations silently work against your health over time without you even realizing it. So now, let's talk about the first of those combinations. It's one you've probably had dozens, maybe even hundreds of times in your life. Let's take a closer look. Number 1, bacon with white bread. Let's start with one of the most common and most overlooked combinations out there, bacon with white bread. I'm talking about bacon sandwiches, bacon on toast, bacon with a side of pancakes or waffles made from refined flour. It's a staple on diner menus and in family kitchens across America, and it feels harmless, maybe even nostalgic. But this combo has a hidden downside that becomes more serious the older we get. Here's why. White bread is a refined carbohydrate. That means most of the natural fiber, vitamins, and nutrients have been stripped away during processing. What you're left with is starch, pure, simple starch that your body quickly turns into sugar. And when that sugar hits your bloodstream fast, it causes a spike in blood glucose. For older adults, especially those at risk for type 2 diabetes or heart disease, these sugar spikes can be damaging. Now, pair that with bacon, which is high in saturated fat and salt, and your body suddenly has to deal with two stressors at once, a blood sugar rush and a fat overload. This combination can lead to inflammation, insulin resistance, and long-term damage to your arteries and digestive system. But there's more. When you toast white bread, especially until it's golden or crispy, it forms something called acrylamide. That's a chemical produced by high heat cooking of starches. And guess what? Acrylamide has been linked in some studies to an increased cancer risk. So, when you're eating bacon and white toast together, you may be unknowingly combining processed meat, refined carbs, and a heat-induced chemical compound. For a healthy adult in their 20s, the body might handle it just fine. But for someone in their 60s or 70s, it's a much heavier burden, one that builds up over time. Now, this doesn't mean you have to give up your bacon sandwich forever, but here's a smarter, more balanced option. Try swapping the white bread for whole grain or sprouted grain bread. These types of bread have more fiber, more nutrients, and a lower glycemic index. That means they break down slower and keep your blood sugar steady. Add a few slices of avocado for heart-healthy fats, or top it with a fried egg cooked in olive oil instead of butter. It's still delicious, still satisfying, but far better for your heart, your gut, and your long-term health. Let's keep going, because the next bacon combo is one almost nobody talks about, and it involves a food that's supposed to be healthy. This one really surprised me when I looked into it. Number 2, bacon with tomato or citrus fruits. Now this one might come as a surprise because it involves foods we've all been told are healthy. I'm talking about bacon combined with tomatoes or citrus fruits like oranges or grapefruit. Now don't get me wrong, on their own, tomatoes and citrus fruits are packed with good stuff. They're rich in vitamin C, antioxidants, and fiber. These are the kinds of foods doctors tell us to eat more of. So what's the problem when we pair them with bacon? Here's where the science gets interesting. Bacon contains preservatives called nitrates and nitrites. These compounds are added to keep the meat looking fresh and to prevent bacterial growth. But when nitrates are exposed to certain conditions, like the presence of vitamin C in your stomach, they can turn into something called nitrosamines. And nitrosamines are chemicals that have been linked to an increased risk of cancer, particularly cancers of the stomach and digestive tract. So what does that mean for breakfast? Well, if you're eating bacon and following it with a glass of orange juice, or having tomatoes in your breakfast wrap or on your sandwich, you might be unintentionally creating this harmful chemical reaction inside your body. It doesn't happen every single time, and it doesn't mean one meal will hurt you. But over months or years, that kind of combination can quietly cause damage. There's another issue too. Acidic foods like tomatoes and citrus fruits can aggravate acid reflux or indigestion, especially when paired with fatty meats like bacon. Many older adults already deal with acid reflux, and this combination can make symptoms worse. burning, bloating, or discomfort that lingers after a meal. So, what should you do? You don't need to stop eating tomatoes or skip your morning orange, but it's a smart idea to separate these foods from bacon by at least 1 or 2 hours. Give your stomach time to process the bacon before introducing acidic or high vitamin C foods. That way, you avoid creating those harmful compounds and reduce the stress on your digestion. Another option is to eat roasted or cooked tomatoes instead of raw. Cooking them reduces the acidity and helps break down some of the compounds that contribute to reflux. It's all about timing and balance. These small adjustments can make a big difference over time, especially if bacon is something you enjoy regularly. Now, let's move on to the third and final food pairing on our list. It's a classic combination, one you've probably had for decades. But when I show you what's really going on inside your body when you eat it, you might start to think twice. Number 3, bacon with fried eggs in butter or oil. All right? This last one is probably the most classic breakfast combo in America. Bacon with fried eggs, cooked in butter. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? It might even bring back memories. Weekend mornings, someone flipping eggs in a cast iron skillet, the smell of butter and bacon filling the kitchen. But here's the problem. As comforting as that combo may be, it's also one of the heaviest loads your heart has to carry. Let me explain why. Bacon is already high in saturated fat and sodium. Now, add eggs cooked in butter or oil, and you're stacking saturated fats on top of more saturated fats. That kind of meal delivers a triple hit to your cardiovascular system, especially if you're over the age of 55. What happens inside your body? First, your cholesterol levels can spike, particularly the bad cholesterol, low-density lipoprotein, or LDL. Over time, LDL cholesterol builds up in your arteries and contributes to something called atherosclerosis. That's a hardening and narrowing of the arteries that can lead to heart attacks, strokes, or other serious problems. Second, this combination is tough on digestion. It can leave you feeling sluggish, bloated, or tired, especially if your gallbladder or liver is slowing down with age, as it often does. And finally, heavy fatty meals like this may contribute to cognitive decline over the long term. Studies have shown a link between diets high in saturated fats and reduced memory and mental clarity in older adults. Now, I'm not saying you can't enjoy eggs. Eggs are actually a great source of protein and essential nutrients. The issue is how they're cooked and what they're cooked with. So here's a better approach. Instead of frying your eggs in butter, try poaching, boiling, or using a non-stick pan with a small drizzle of olive oil. Olive oil contains monounsaturated fats, which actually support heart health. And by reducing the total fat load, you're giving your body a break. And your arteries some room to breathe. You can also pair your eggs and bacon with something lighter, like a side of leafy greens or avocado, to bring more balance to the meal. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about making wiser choices more often. The good news? You don't have to give up the flavors you love. You just have to learn how to enjoy them in a way that protects your health instead of harming it. Coming up next, I'll show you exactly what foods do work well with bacon and how you can build a breakfast that's both satisfying and smart for your body. 3 healthy foods to pair with bacon. By now, you've heard the 3 common food combinations with bacon that can quietly work against your health, especially as we get older. But let's be honest, bacon is delicious. It's familiar, and it brings a kind of comfort that's hard to replace. So instead of asking you to give it up completely, I want to show you how to keep it on your plate in a way that actually supports your health. Here are 3 simple, healthy foods you can pair with bacon to turn your meal from risky to restorative. 1. Avocado, the heart's best friend. Let's take a moment to talk about one of the best foods you can pair with bacon. Avocado. Now I know, avocado is often called a fatty fruit, and for many years people were told to avoid fat altogether. But we now understand that not all fats are the same. In fact, avocados are full of healthy monounsaturated fats, the kind that actually help protect your heart. These fats can lower your bad cholesterol, called LDL, and raise your good cholesterol, HDL. That's a big deal, especially as we get older and our arteries need a little more care. Avocados are also loaded with potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure and supports muscle and nerve function. And unlike bananas, they don't come with a sugar spike. That's a huge plus for people managing high blood pressure or blood sugar levels. And let's not forget fiber, something most Americans don't get enough of. Avocados are rich in fiber, which means they help you feel full longer, support smooth digestion, and even help balance your blood sugar. When eaten with bacon, that fiber slows down how quickly the fat and salt from the bacon are absorbed, giving your body a much gentler, more balanced experience. Taste-wise, bacon and avocado are a perfect match. The salty crunch of bacon and the creamy richness of avocado come together like they were made for each other. Here's a simple idea. Toast a slice of whole grain bread, spread on some mashed avocado with a bit of lemon juice, sprinkle on some crumbled bacon, and maybe add a sliced boiled egg. You've just turned a comfort food into a heart-smart breakfast. Or skip the bread and just enjoy sliced avocado alongside your eggs and bacon with some baby spinach or cherry tomatoes on the side. It's simple, it's satisfying, and it's smart. Choosing avocado with your bacon isn't about giving something up. It's about giving your body what it needs to stay strong, clear, and energized for years to come. 2. Leafy greens, the anti-inflammatory shield. If you're looking for a simple, powerful way to balance the richness of bacon, look no further than leafy greens. I'm talking about spinach, kale, arugula, collard greens, those dark, vibrant leaves that are often pushed to the side of the plate. But here's the truth. When it comes to fighting inflammation and supporting healthy aging, leafy greens are some of the most valuable foods you can eat. First, they're packed with fiber, which helps slow digestion, reduce cholesterol, and balance blood sugar, especially important when you're eating bacon, which is salty, fatty, and processed. That fiber also feeds the good bacteria in your gut, improving digestion and strengthening your immune system. Second, leafy greens are full of antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin K, folate, and magnesium. These nutrients help protect your cells from damage, lower blood pressure, and support brain health. For older adults, that means better memory, clearer thinking, and reduced risk of chronic diseases. Now here's where it gets interesting. Pairing bacon with leafy greens actually makes both foods better. The bacon adds flavor and satisfaction to the greens, while the greens balance out the effects of the bacon. It's a win-win. One of the best ways to enjoy this combo is to make a warm spinach salad. Just saute a handful of spinach in olive oil with a bit of garlic, then add a few chopped pieces of cooked bacon on top. Maybe toss in a boiled egg or some roasted sweet potato for a complete nutrient-rich meal. Or, if you're making scrambled eggs and bacon, just add a handful of arugula or kale on the side, lightly dressed with lemon juice and a pinch of salt. It doesn't have to be fancy to be effective. The point is this: leafy greens help your body process bacon more gently, reduce the inflammation it might cause, and support your heart, brain, and gut in the process. And at this stage in life, that kind of support is exactly what we need. 3. Sweet potatoes, the slow-carb superfood. Let's talk about a food that brings both comfort and powerful nutrition to the table. Sweet potatoes. These vibrant orange root vegetables aren't just delicious. They're also one of the smartest choices you can make when enjoying bacon, especially if you're trying to protect your heart, balance your blood sugar, and feel more energized as you age.
Here's why sweet potatoes matter. Unlike white bread, regular potatoes, or refined grains, sweet potatoes are known as a low glycemic index food. That means they break down slowly in your body, providing a steady release of energy instead of causing a spike in blood sugar. This is especially important for older adults who are managing prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or just trying to avoid that post-meal crash. Sweet potatoes are also packed with fiber, which supports digestion, keeps you full longer, and helps your body process fat and cholesterol more effectively. So when you eat bacon, which is high in salt and saturated fat, pairing it with sweet potato gives your system the balance it needs. And there's more. Sweet potatoes are a rich source of beta-carotene, which your body turns into vitamin A. This supports your immune system, eye health, and even your skin. They also contain potassium and magnesium, which help regulate blood pressure and reduce inflammation. So how do you enjoy sweet potatoes with bacon in a way that's both healthy and delicious? One easy idea is to make a roasted sweet potato hash. Just cube the sweet potatoes, toss them with a little olive oil, and roast them in the oven until golden and soft. Add crumbled bacon on top, maybe a poached egg, and a sprinkle of fresh herbs. It's warm, comforting, and full of flavor, but it also gives your body real nourishment. Or if you prefer something simpler, just slice and roast a sweet potato as a side dish with your breakfast plate. It goes beautifully with eggs, bacon, and even greens. Sweet potatoes help you slow things down in a good way. They bring stability, comfort, and deep nutrition to your meal. And in a world that often feels too fast, too processed, or too overwhelming, that kind of food is a gift. So the next time you reach for bacon, ask yourself, what can I add to make this meal work for me, not against me? A few roasted sweet potatoes might be the answer.
Your health, your power. As we wrap up this conversation, I want to take a moment to talk to you, not just about bacon or breakfast or even nutrition. I want to talk about something deeper, power. Because whether you're in your late 50s, your 60s, 70s, or beyond, one of the most important truths you need to remember is this: you still have power over your health. And one of the easiest, most impactful ways to use that power is right on your plate. You don't need to follow some extreme diet or cut out all the foods you enjoy. You don't need to chase every new health trend that shows up in your inbox. What you need is a little more understanding and a little more intention behind the foods you already eat. Earlier this year, I spoke with a senior nutrition expert, someone who spent the last 2 decades working with older adults. And she said something I'll never forget. At a certain age, food is no longer about managing weight. It's about managing energy, clarity, and independence. That's the real measure of health after 60. That hit me hard because it's true. We don't just want to live longer. We want to feel good while we're here. We want to wake up with energy, move without pain, remember names, follow conversations, and show up fully for the people we love. And the foods we eat, especially the combinations we choose, have a quiet but powerful effect on all of that. See, bacon by itself isn't the villain. The problem is when we unknowingly pair it with foods that trigger inflammation, spike blood sugar, raise bad cholesterol, and put extra pressure on our aging hearts, brains, and digestion. When you eat bacon with white bread, your body is hit with a quick rush of starch and salt. When you add acidic tomatoes or a glass of orange juice, you may trigger chemical reactions that increase cancer risk. When you fry your eggs in butter beside that bacon, you overload your system with heavy saturated fats that clog arteries and leave you feeling tired, not nourished. But when you make just a few small changes, swapping an avocado, adding leafy greens, or pairing bacon with roasted sweet potatoes, you're not giving anything up. You're simply giving your body more of what it needs and less of what it doesn't. Let me put it this way. Food is either medicine or a slow poison. And the difference
It's not always in what you eat. It's in what you eat it with. That's called food synergy. It's how foods interact inside your body, not in isolation, but together. Some pairings fight for you. Others quietly work against you. And once you understand that, you can begin to make meals that truly support your future, not steal from it. Now, I want to be very clear here. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to stress over every bite. But what if you chose one meal each day to improve? One small change, one better pairing. Over time, those small shifts can give you more energy in the afternoon, clearer thinking, better sleep, fewer doctor visits, and perhaps even more years with the people who matter most. You've earned the right to feel good. You've made it through decades of hard work, caregiving, sacrifice, and survival. You don't need to go backwards. You need to go forward wisely. So here's my advice to you, heart to heart. Keep the joy in your meals, but bring your wisdom to the table too. Eat slowly, eat with gratitude, and ask yourself, is this food helping me feel more alive or more tired? Because in the end, that's what health is really about. Feeling alive, feeling like yourself, feeling present, sharp, and steady in the life you still have ahead of you. And if this video helped you today, even in some small way, I hope you'll share it with someone you care about, a spouse, a sibling, a friend, or even your grown kids. Because knowledge is a gift. And when we pass it on, we help build a community that's not just older, but wiser. Thank you for being here with me.